Class is in session. Hey guys, and welcome to Unlearn 16. Class is in session. Today, I am sitting for the first time. Actually, we've tried to do this podcast a few times. For the first time with Brandon the Entertainer, straight up from TikTok. And I didn't know this until recently. Everybody's going to call me a liar. One of the co-founders of the Cheer Choice Award and Cheer charity. So, how are you?
I'm doing
What
pretty
is
good.
going on?
I'm doing pretty good. Board member, I like, not co-founder. I give founder all the way to
You're on the
Danielle.
board.
Yeah, definitely.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. You give founder. You're on the board of the Cheer Choice Award. So
yeah, but I have been there since the beginning, though. I haven't been there since
why
the
don't you
beginning.
tell everybody a little bit about you, a little bit about that, and then we'll sort of roll into what I kind of want to talk about today, which is social media impacts.
Okay, thanks. You're giving me time to plug. All right.
I got it. It's important. I think it's important on many levels. I think it's important on a charity level, and it's really important for sort of on an academic social awareness level.
So. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I am Brandon, aka Brandon the Entertainer. I am from Kansas City, Kansas, not Kansas City, Missouri, in the States here. Born and raised here. I work in the sector of public works as my actual job, but I guess kind of part time. We do this whole social media deal, right?
That's right.
It contrary to a lot of people's belief, it don't really pay the bills all that much unless we just dive deep into it. But it's not guaranteed.
And unless you're willing, I think on the TikTok line, anyways, unless you're really willing to, sell stuff. If you're willing, there is lots of money. Don't get me wrong. There is lots of money to be earned if you're willing to sell a water bottle here and an AI generator over here and a dating app over here, 100%. So the people that aren't doing that, not to say if you want to do it, have at it. Like, have a good time. I think if that's what you want to do, for me and probably for you, I think the minute I sell something on there or support something on there that isn't me, I might as well just shut the channel down anyways. I think it does it.
Yeah, and we'll get into that here in a second. But at least I think we will. I hope we will. I don't know. I've been on social media I say social media, I guess I'm a millennial, so I guess I've been on there forever. But I have been on TikTok and actually becoming a content creator / influencer for going on 5 years now. Right. So I was pre-COVID to all this stuff because a lot of people jumped on COVID, but I was pre-COVID and doing anything. That's when I started seeing the elevation and rise of my content because, first, me, myself, my wife, and I got one of my really good oldest content creator friends actually here too, a Sloth Runner. She's at my house right now. Like all of us, we were here before COVID, and then all of a sudden, the world shuts down, and all our videos are starting to just. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what's happening, Ray? Why are so many people watching me? This is supposed to be a secret. I'm not supposed to be. and then videos started going viral, and I started, and then it was kind of one of those things me personally, and not taking anything away or trying to not be a motivational example for anybody, but me personally never wanted to make a career, but I knew that social media, there was still an untapped part of social media, and I kind of found that through the charity, and that's what I'm wearing right here, Spread the Cheer USA. And because we saw so many content creators doing stuff like giving back, trying to do actual good work. And then we were in the help with Danielle Claudio, it was just kind of why don't we make this official? Make this a real thing. Because there were some people, let's be honest, they were kind of scamming people too, said, oh, I'm going to donate this to charity. And then,
how do you ever know?
How do you really ever know? So we hold ourselves accountable, and we make official 501c3. So everything you donate through any of our site, our payment sites, it has to go to charity. So doing that. that kind of retuned my whole content creating deal. So I mean, I was like, everything I was wanting to do from there on out was for my charity or whatever, and then got into the podcast world. So that's
Right,
something I just
right.
recently just started doing with my cousin and my brother, starting our podcast and the sports podcast called Around the Clock. And I think that's it for my plugs. I think I went like 3 minutes on plugging myself.
That's
So
it. Well, that's right. Look, first of all, with the plug, I mean, it's plugs for such lovely things, right?
yeah,
You can
yeah, yeah.
plug that all day. Like, let's talk a little bit about the Spread Cheer charity because it's different
Okay.
from the Cheer Choice Awards. So a lot of
Right.
people who are going to be listening, they know about the Cheer. Most people knew about it before, like my followers knew before I knew at all really what it was about. And so when
Yeah.
I got nominated out the gate, I had everybody, a lot of my people, like saying, "Oh, this is what it is, and this is where the money
Hmm.
goes." They're really awesomely educated about it.
Yeah.
But if you could just explain the charity component, and then we'll get to the awards part.
So the charity was first started with a content creator called Danielle Claudio. She is a person who just loves Christmas, right? And just like a lot of us do. And she wanted to give. She was just she had like some money for extra gifts, and she went on to her live, and
Right,
I think this is how the story goes. Don't quote me with this 100%, but basically she got money like from her followers, and she teamed up with a couple other content creators at the time.
right,
Perfectly Kelsey. I think some of your followers might know who she is, and Scott D. Henry.
right,
And
right,
they went out and they gave some gifts to some families, and she said, I'm gonna call this spreading cheer, you know.
right,
And
right,
then it just kind of evolved into, I want to, she was like, I want to make this a 501c3. So she got with uh Chief Nitro, who she was friends with, and then she got with myself and a couple other content creators. And right when she approached me about it, I was like, yeah, this is a phenomenal idea. Like, so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
let's keep this moving. And then we worked that whole what was the year of 21, I think it was 2021. We worked on kind of making money for Christmas, like just seeing how much money we could raise for Christmas. And then we ended up helping like, I think like 30 something families that year, 40
Right.
something the next year. And then this past year, we ended up helping 53, I think, families.
And what does that help
So,
look like? Just
so no, I'm sorry, I skipped that part. Yeah. So what we do is during the Christmas season, we send out, post everything to people to tell everybody you can nominate people who you feel need help for Christmas, or even if you feel like yourself needs help.
right, right, right,
And so we ask people to, submit a story about yourself, like why you need help, and
right.
then we do a light vetting, because there we have been, you know, things have happened where
Always
people have not
possible. Sure,
told
sure.
the truth. And so people come through and they send their stories. A lot of people nominating other people, and then what we do is we find elves. So we find other content creators to kind of help us
Right,
out.
right, right.
So if there's a content creator in Dallas, Texas, like we'll reach out to a content creator that we may know of in Dallas, Texas, and they would act to be our elf and help us
In that area.
deliver gifts to families in that area.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. So we use social media like to its fullest, basically.
Right.
At least we try to. And we try to document if the
They're
families are comfortable
open. Yeah.
with it. Um so people can see that, because we want to take people on a journey. We want to take people on the journey of, the starting off with the Cheer Choice Awards. You donated this money for this creator, so this, and we want people to realize that everything that you're donating, it is going to charity. We're going to putting a present underneath a kid's tree.
Right.
So we try to take them onto that journey. So that's why we ask to document, because we want people to see that their money is going to where we say it's going.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's
Yeah.
lovely. And so you're doing that, you're helping these families, you're taking presents to their, that's all incredibly beautiful. And
Hmm.
then you came up, when did the idea of this award show come up?
About two. So we were trying to figure out ways to, about 2 years ago, trying to figure out a way to, you know, like what can we have? Like we feel like every charity has like their big charity event, you know? But we knew that social media family and like especially the TikTok family in general, you know, like to do things differently. So we're like, how can we what can we do to like
We're
make it
so
more
over the
fun?
top, aren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. And we wanted to see how we can make this more interactive
Sure.
and just fun. And so that's how we came out with the idea of the Cheer Choice Awards. And we wanted to honestly honor because there was a lot of content creators that are positive and doing amazing things like
Right.
yourself. Like I mean, you're constantly teaching and inspiring people out in and outside of your classroom. Like so why wouldn't we want to honor other content creators like yourself, you know, to also
Yeah. It's
and
so funny. Yeah, go ahead.
and
Sorry.
no, I'm saying and raise money for you know people are in need at all at the same time, like
All
literally
the same.
benefiting.
Right.
That's kind of all we want to be about.
So just so everybody understands, like the Cheer Choice Awards happens in Vegas every year, and what ends up happening is when you vote for content creators, you can vote one time for free, or there's a an option where you can pay for more votes per day, and all of that money goes to the charity that Brandon is speaking about. Also, with the Cheer Choice Awards, there are ticket sales. So if you are a nominee or family members or followers or fans or whatever, you can actually go to the awards, and all of that money, outside of obviously covering costs of what it costs in Vegas, all of that money also goes to the charity. Because I know a lot of people
Hmm.
that were starting to vote for me are like, Joanna, why do I have to put in my credit card? I'm like, I don't. And then, so again, I had followers say, no, no, you don't have to. But if you do, here's
Hmm.
where the money goes, which
Yeah.
again is kind of a cool thing, right? Not
Right.
only are you voting for and helping, whatever creator that you like, but you're also donating money to charity at the exact same time.
Yeah. And that was I talked to you about it over the phone a little bit the other day. Like it was kind of a big misconception. We had people thinking that
A little bit,
the
yeah.
the content creators like yourself that were involved in a competition were pocketing the money. And I was like, I don't that was a rumor that was going
I'm
around. I'm like
pocketing money and I'm not aware of it. How does that buy?
yeah.
I just did a TikTok about buying my ticket, my flight to Vegas, and
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, listen, when did it not? When did the cheap flight to Vegas with cheap hotels and cheap food stop? Was that what 1992? Ocean's 11 lies.
I know.
Anyway,
It was
so
and well actually it was COVID because like
COVID
coming
jacket,
I remember
yeah,
you used to be able to because me and my friends would always tease about going all the time and we would see like Southwest was like one of the main ones. They would have like $50 flights to Vegas
yeah, but that's
like
in the
anytime.
United States. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I feel like those flights again. I saw cheap flights too, but it was like, and then it all
Yeah.
starts at $50, but that's with 17 layovers.
Yeah.
So,
No, yeah, no. It was
nonetheless,
yeah, but we did our first so prior to doing Cheer Choice Awards, we did the or we were a part of Vegas Invasion, and that was like right out of COVID. So this
right,
was you're
right.
talking like
So
I
you just
guess
locked
I think it was April. I think it was April. You know, I think it was
Yeah,
April
you Americans did
21.
it a little different.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we're done.
yeah.
Everybody, come on down to Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like Vegas 21. Like yeah, Vegas. Yeah, it was Vegas 2021 in April, and this was like Vegas was like barely open. I don't even know if it was open for a month yet.
I was going to
And like
say,
we had like 1,000 people from TikTok like
oh
go
my
down
God.
there and just party and just like it was a fundraiser though. We still raised money for our
Yeah, yeah,
charity
yeah.
and the I believe Wounded Warrior chapter of Vegas. And so it was really good cause and a
That's
lot of money
beautiful.
got
Yeah.
raised. So
That's amazing. I'm a little, it's so funny. So as I'm getting ready to, get everything set to go down there, I'm like, oh, it's going to be a lot of personalities in a very, like, it's a
yeah,
lot of people who like having the microphone or like whatever, you know what I mean?
yeah,
In that same space. I said, I'm kind of intrigued at how it all plays out, because I've talked to a lot of these people who are all, beautiful people,
oh
but
yeah,
we all do like the
and it
microphone.
and it's not as bad as you think. I mean, most believe it or not, most I mean, when I say most, I'm talking about 80% or better
Yeah.
of content creators are
Right.
introverts. Like,
So funny.
you'll be so amazed like how many of them are very shy when they get there.
Well, I think, and that's what I forget, right? Because what
Yeah.
I do on here is very different from what a lot of people do. When
Hmm.
people, sure, I could be doing a bit. I might
Yeah.
exaggerate. I might, you know what I mean? I might be a little bit more dramatic with my facial expressions or my hand gestures or whatever. But at the end of the day, for the most part, I literally am just being me, which is what I've always liked. Which is when I found out, and we'll get to this in a second. When I found out, I'm like, oh, people just are looking for a aspect of authenticity.
Hmm.
They don't care about anything else. That's really what they're driven by. But whereas
Yeah.
when I look at a lot of content creators on that list, you have musicians and fine artists and actors. I'm not an actor. I have zero artistic ability. Those people are completely different about how they engage. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
a Call Me Chris, she's an actress. That's her thing. And she puts all of this, and that's not her on display. That's her characters on display.
Right. Right.
And for me, I don't really separate that only because it's just not who I am, right?
Yeah. It's it's funny, man. Like seeing the whole um I don't know, just everyone's journey who I've gotten to
Mhm.
know
Right.
on social media, because people just come from like people, I mean, like me and you, like we can get in front of people and we can be
Yeah.
very,
That's my
not
safe space.
like we've never met
Sure.
a stranger before,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
type of personality. But then there's people who on camera act a lot like us
Mm,
because they're in their comfort zone at home.
right.
I even actually myself, when I'm in front of, like when I'm on stage, like when I'm on stage on Cheer Choice Awards or when I did the comedy night last year, I get stage fright.
Right, right.
I
Well, I
you
think
know
stage fright's healthy for everybody a little bit.
yeah. I mean, because you just don't want to mess up, like especially doing something like comedy. It's
Do you
man,
feel
it's
like
so
it? First of all, you're gonna. I get. Yeah, I've
it's
been having people try to get me on a stand up stage for a little bit now, and I'm like, guys, I have a tight 3 minutes. You understand? That's it. Because
yeah
I do TikTok and I get off. I don't. Whatever you think I can do, I can
yeah
have a different skill set. But I mean, I'll do it, and I'll be okay if when I probably suck at it. But I think that's
yeah
kind of it. You have to be able to go up there, and I think that's what TikTok has done and social media has done a little bit. Is that the beauty of it is you go out and you stink, and the world doesn't end
yeah
because at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. If I stand
yeah
on a stand-up stage and I suck at the end of what has that has caused no real lifelong problems. What it's done is it's made people brave and it's made people step out of their comfort zone. And
hmm
when you do that, that is a plus. When you
yeah
do something that scares the crap out of you, I almost would argue failing it for a hot minute, it actually adds more to who you are and what you're going to be able to accomplish and what you're no longer afraid of.
yeah.
Um, I think that's super important. So, like the stand-up world, I mean, my God, it's kill or be killed
It
on that.
is, and I've always said this to people. I believe when it comes to the entertainment sector, it is the hardest form of art.
Yep.
Like because you literally you're judged. You're not. There's no like when you're doing movies, you're judged on how many the box office.
Right.
You're
Right. Right.
like when you're
Yeah.
doing anything else. Like you're there's like a number that can judge. Like you're literally judged by laughs. Like how many people laugh at you. That is
Right.
that is so
Well,
hard. You don't know.
the hard part about today is you're judged by laughs, and number one, it's all you. No
Hmm.
producers, no editors, no makeup team, no
Yeah.
blah blah. And no writers for the most part. And the interesting part about comedy right now, and I do find this fascinating, you get judged in the room, and then you get judged on social media.
Yeah.
So you have two different audiences,
Oh
right?
yeah.
the joke fly in this room with these people? And does the joke, usually out of context of the entire bit,
Yeah.
how does that fly? 'Cause we know this, like, comedians left, right, and center are taking shots about going too far or punching down or whatever jokes they're making that people are deeming inappropriate. You know, w- when does that go too far? Am I allowed to joke about anything? All of those kinds of things. Like,
Yeah.
one of my favorite comedians is Ricky Gervais. If he's talking, he's gone too far. I mean,
Right.
that's the bottom line of Ricky
Yeah.
Gervais. He never there. The reason why he doesn't get in trouble, I think, I swear to God, as much as some other people, is because his entire hour is out of pocket.
Mm.
He doesn't do one soft joke.
Yeah.
So everything is like offensive and sort of equally offensive to so many people. Because where I hear a lot of other comedians getting, nobody's gotten canceled, by the way, but they're getting canceled. That's not okay. We're not, this is a bad, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, I'm like, why? I never really hear. Have you ever heard about Ricky Gervais? People saying he should be done for that joke?
No, no.
I don't think
No,
I've ever.
at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know what, when people talk about being canceled, what all does that entail? Like, how do you,
Yeah, they're
is it
using the
just the
word
person?
pretty lightly, right?
Yeah, does that mean if you're canceled, like you don't exist anymore? Like you don't?
You never, well, yeah, that's the funny part. Like, you never get a job anymore
Yeah,
because really, who's gotten canceled now? Because,
yeah,
that you'll say they get canceled, but at the end of the day, they could still
yeah.
sell out a house. And as soon as they can still sell out a house, guess who's uncanceled?
I know, right? Well, I mean, like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's supposed to be canceled.
Yeah,
And
not
I guess
canceled.
Matt Rife now is supposed to be
Yeah, the guy,
canceled,
listen,
but
and I think it's funny. I think it's funny the amount of, I think it's always been funny. The amount of credit,
mhm,
let's say character credit, we give to anybody.
yeah.
And I'm not just talking comedians. I'm talking athletes, actors, anybody.
Well,
People
I had that kind of conversation with you the other day. We were talking about even on social media because
yeah,
people do that. People, like you're talking about character credit or whatever.
they
Yeah, like
give you
that's
character credit and they don't
uh,
know you. And
yeah,
there's no way to, especially if you're just on a stand up stage, especially if you're just in a movie or you're throwing a ball real far.
yeah,
Like, nobody knows about your character. And then, it's like because you do these very cool things that
hmm,
people love and people can find connection to and are important in their lives, they crown you
mm,
all of this moral or
yeah,
ethical credit when in actuality they have no idea,
yeah,
which is the problem, which is why we build people up and then we sort of start tearing them down as we find out, oh, you cheated on that girlfriend, oh, you did. Because there's no question that Matt Rife's minimal demise, by the way, he's still selling out stuff, left,
yeah,
right, center, coincided with his ex coming out
yeah,
saying, oh, I was with him the whole time. The whole time he was
yeah,
saying he was single or whatever. And all of a sudden, now his jokes are a little too harsh or whatever. Um, but I think
yeah.
that's interesting. I think that's very interesting.
Very.
Do you think there's a line in comedy?
I think now there is
Yeah, but do you think
because
there should be?
uh I don't know. I mean, I mean, when you are doing comedy, like
Yeah,
when you are, because I just don't. I mean, we can call it dark humor. We can call it,
sure.
whatever. Like
Yeah,
it's like, and I like how there's. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, there's a name for like dark humor that gets used all the time, but do we use light humor all the time? I don't know. Like, what
yeah,
is light
yeah, yeah.
humor? Is light humor dad jokes? I guess I don't.
Dad jokes.
Like, I never
Like,
knew
or
what.
like, I guess light humor would be more, a little bit more Seinfeld, right? Like observational, never really
Yeah,
having any sort of focused group,
but it's not.
right?
It's not really used ever. Like it just kind of gets deemed as comedy. But
Yeah,
then once you cross a line, it gets deemed as dark humor.
right, right.
And I just don't feel like there should be because comedy at the end of the day. And I was having this conversation with all the Cat Williams stuff going on. Comedy at the
Who
end of the day is
that kid?
subjective.
It is
It
subjective.
is subjective at the end
Of
of the
course.
day. So
Yeah.
rather if like I'm sorry, and I know this is going to sound harsh and rough, but I'm not saying I agree with some of the jokes that Matt Rife was saying, but there are people who heard his jokes and they laughed
Sure.
because subjectively they thought that was funny, and
That's
it,
okay. Maybe we should start talking. This is the funny part because we're not
mhm,
talking about the real issue. I say all the time, we're very reactionist
mhm,
rather than solution based people. So we hear a guy like Matt Rife make a domestic violence joke and we get pissed.
mhm.
So angry. You're can't. First of all, it was a really old, he stole the joke. Can you be original? If you're going to
Oh,
make a,
I didn't know he
an
stole the joke.
well, it
Yeah.
was just a typical, you didn't make my sandwich, you got a black,
Oh
like,
yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
stupid. It
yeah.
was
I
a
got
bad joke. Having said that, the interesting question,
you.
to be
Hmm.
honest, is why did the whole room laugh?
Yeah,
That's the interesting question.
yeah.
Everybody's,
I
that's
think I think
interesting
some
conversation.
some comedians get to so much to a powerful point. Like every comedian talks about how they've been booed off stage and whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is probably 100%. It's 100% true, probably with
Yeah,
all
for
of them,
sure. For sure.
especially early in their careers. But I truly feel like they get to a point in their career where they're so powerful on stage that we don't want to make them
Yeah.
uncomfortable, or we're
Laugh
uncomfortable if we
anyway.
don't laugh, so we laugh anyway.
Laugh, laugh.
Doesn't matter if these people
Oh,
get
but
on,
don't
Kevin Hart
laugh.
gets on stage, Dave Chappelle, Matt Rife, any of these guys. Eddie Murphy haven't done comedy in like close to 30 years on stage. He could get on stage right now. He is so powerful, people will laugh, like they're going to
Listen,
laugh, and they're going to set themselves up with an audience that they know will laugh no matter what they do,
could
because
you
you've
imagine?
already spent $100 getting there.
Could you imagine him doing Delirious today?
Oh no, it
Could
wouldn't
you
happen.
imagine?
I mean, it'll get laughs though,
Oh, it would get laughs. Oh, but that's
but
the
he'll get
point.
canceled.
It's like, well, as far as he's going to
Yeah,
get canceled.
we
Um,
had Richard Pryor back in the day using the R word
oh yeah.
routinely,
Oh, for
and he,
sure.
you know what I mean. Like, and now today, that's a no. You know,
Listen, I just listened to old uh what's her name? No, not Melissa. Joan Rivers. And I was listening to some like Joan Rivers. She had people on her show when she did when she gets caught by TMZ, and you're every
hmm
time you listen to her, you're like, oh, out of pocket, out of pocket.
yeah, yeah,
But that's just who. That's how she constantly talked.
yeah.
Like there was literally an interview with her and Oprah, and she looks at this woman on stage and says, "How'd you get so fat?" Flat, full.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
no joke in her voice. She goes, "You won whatever beauty pageant when you were younger. How'd this happen?" And Oprah, obviously in her very younger years, um, says, "Well, I ate too much, Joan." Like she explains it
Yeah,
kind of cryptically, but like what is and then
yeah,
you watch these individuals and you think, oh well, today they're so much worse. I'm like, I don't know. I I really don't know. You watch movies from the 80s and 90s and you think everybody's worried about what kids are going to watch today.
yeah.
They use the F word, and I don't mean, I mean the slur for gay men. I
Um,
swear to God, every other sentence in Teen Wolf. Have you ever watched Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox?
I never really have actually.
Oh my God. It's like, and I'm
I didn't
assuming it's
know. I
true
didn't know they
most of the
did that back.
late 80s. Oh yeah, in the late
Yeah.
80s,
Oh, yeah. I guess that
every
may.
the
Yeah.
worst insult you could do.
Hmm.
Every other word. Because like my kids now will say, Joe, we want to watch movies from the 80s, like after school or whatever. And I'm like, I, I don't know, because
Yeah.
there's
My
some
my daughter's a retro fan too. I'll be kind of like,
there's some
it's even stuff. It's even stuff from the early 2000s. I'm just like kind of like,
sure.
I don't know. You know, I gotta kind of. I might want to vet this first.
Right. But the funny part is we
Yeah.
can't, I don't know. I say put it all, I'm not a big censorship person. I say put it all on
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
and discuss it.
Yeah.
Why did they use that word then? Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Why was it okay then? That's a cool conversation.
Yeah.
Um, but so going into the Cheer Choice Awards, and we can talk a little bit. You want to talk a little bit about the book?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it
for
was
sure.
cool because out of the blue, I felt like you're like, listen, we're going to do this book. We're going to make it about the usefulness of social media
Hmm.
bringing positivity and change and all of the positive, because all we hear for the most part is social media rots your brain and it's all stupid and it's manipulation and it makes every kid have some sort of mental illness and it's just the worst. And
Right.
this book you want, and you've collected some of the I guess, nominees to write chapters and talk about what they've done with social media,
Yeah.
how it's positively influenced them, and
Hmm.
hopefully other people. But do you want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about the book?
Yeah. So the book is going to be called The Social Spark. And what we're doing is we are compiling a bunch of content creators. Some that are going to be nominees at the Cheer Choice Awards. Some just from other just all over social media.
Right.
And really, at the end of the day, it just gives them another platform to tell their story.
Yeah.
And so people who are listening to this podcast and are fans of you, like they actually can get their hands on documented writing,
Hmm.
because she is a teacher and she's probably going to be one of the most professional writers that we have.
Oh my God! What did you just do, Brandon? Do not set
she's
the bar
she's
there,
no, the
sir.
bar is high for her right now.
Oh,
The bar is
shoot!
high. um she's gonna kill it on her chapter. She's gonna get a whole chapter to herself. It's gonna be what did I send you yesterday?
You said 3 to 5 thousand
Yeah, three to
words.
five thousand. You can see 3 to 5 thousand words of her just, I don't know, pouring out her heart, whatever story she wants to tell, whatever story she wants to talk about on social media, what motivated her, or just in life in general, even outside of social media. You're going to
Right.
get more of a little bit more of an in depth glimpse who Joe is, and that's going to be some of your other favorite content creators are going to be a part of this too, and this is going to be fun.
I think it's just interesting because I mean, obviously, I battle this. No, to be honest, I get 95% positivity. I
Hmm.
would say on my
Yeah.
post. Every once in a while, you get a stupid comment, which
Hmm.
I do enjoy. But for the most part, it's incredibly positive. Now,
Hmm.
I run with that, and I've really stepped into a world. I think there's two reasons for that. Number one, I don't roll down any. You cannot find a single post or a comment that I've made on anyone else's video that is, if I disagree with them, cool. I'll
Hmm.
write why I disagree with their opinion or whatever. But in no way, shape, or form do I go after people for stupid crap, for the way
Yeah.
they
Yeah. Yeah.
look, the way they speak, for their home,
Hmm.
for their whatever. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
and I think what you put out sometimes
Hmm.
is what comes back. Now that doesn't mean I can't be judgmental. People are like, listen, I can be. I tend to
Yeah.
be more judgmental. I feel like sometimes judgment is not deserved when it's based on nothing, but when
Right.
it's based on countless experiences and statements and opinions, that's earned judgment. You've
Right.
acted like an ass. Now we believe you to be an ass. I don't. That's rational,
I like
right?
that. I like that. I'm gonna steal that quote, by the way.
It's not judgment. Like, it's like, well, don't judge anybody. Look, you step into this world and you act like an idiot. You are going to be that. That's what I've stepped out in this world and acted like an idiot. I deserve a
Hmm.
smack on the nose.
Yeah.
You say something a little silly or a little out of pocket, or you make one of those superficial judgments, which we all can be prone to do.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be ready to sort of take that on the back end, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the time I think about young people because I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, well, social media, and I want your opinion, like social media is such a heavy weight for them. Um, and I probably would have agreed, hilariously enough, pre TikTok.
Mm.
I looking at Instagram and Twitter, those are some heavy hitting places in the
Hmm.
sense that Twitter has the ability of it really draws in um, sort of the anonymous keyboard warrior that's going to say the worst possible thing that can come to their mind because they can, because their user boatload of
Yeah.
numbers. Like they're just going to, that's it. I'm going full throttle. Instagram's problematic, not just because we can, get the right pose and whatever, but we all know what you can do to a photo in order to make all reality fade
Yeah.
away. And everybody looks at that as this sort of, oh, I got to live up to that. Therefore, I start feeling bad about myself.
Right.
Uh, but TikTok's really changed that for me. And it's changed it for me when I think about those other platforms as well, because if I can sit down and recognize, if I'm a part of that community and I know, guys, watch how easy it is to cinch in my waist with this,
Yeah.
or create a better jawline, or whatever it is people are doing, and people will say, you know, how do I get my video? How am I so eloquent? I'm like, guys, I took 37 takes.
Yeah.
I'm not eloquent
Exactly.
always.
Yeah.
You
that's a
just,
that's one
I'm not
thing.
going to post stupid.
Yeah. Exactly. Like people will say that about me and my wife, like about how like, oh my God, relationship goals. Oh my
Right,
God.
right,
Like we post what we want you to see. Like
sure.
you gonna make a post of us arguing in the kitchen about what's for dinner. Like we ain't
Yeah,
gonna post that
exactly.
unless
Shoes
it's
at the door.
funny. It might be funny, but we ain't gonna do
That would be funny,
that.
actually.
But like
That would be funny. But
no,
that's really interesting because I
yeah.
think all of this social media and what it started to demand is this beautiful thing called authenticity.
Hmm.
And I've watched social media. I don't know if it's hard to know if it's changed because of what I put out and what I like, because you get an algorithm, right?
Hmm.
But the authentic, like all of those, all of the guys that with their shirts off doing really bad TikTok dances that live together in like whatever, the sway house, the swag house, the whatever. For some reason, those guys have kind of all flittered away. Not
Yeah.
to say that good looking people still aren't on social media, but people are like, no, 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 but I really want that chick that does the news with the super cool hair. I want her.
Yeah.
I, I want to see clips of people being honest about who's making, like that lady that makes dinner and she like, it's like mac and cheese out of a can. Like, we want to see who you are, not just ourselves reflected, but also
Right.
you are, whoever that is. And I believe that the more authentically you can figure that out about yourself and present it if you're comfortable,
Hmm.
I honestly believe that's the thing,
Yeah.
that's the thing that people are drawn to. Um,
Yeah.
not to say that lighting isn't important. Don't let
Yeah.
anyone tell you to have a ring light, but
Yeah.
you know that authenticity, I think, really, really has shifted.
I think I think you're absolutely right. I think peeling back because essentially that's what people come to social media for. They come to social media to see real people doing interesting things or
Right?
real people doing things that's the reason why selling stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
case in
yeah,
point, TikTok Shop is going nuts right now because they see real people using these products.
yeah.
Is not, yes, is it getting kind of commercialized?
Hmm.
Absolutely. But when you like, I have a video that's from TikTok Shop right now, got 5 million views because I just filmed my family playing a game, just my
Oh
family, my
yeah, yeah,
cousins,
yeah.
but it's real people
Right.
filming themselves having fun playing this game. So now they're like, man, I want to bring that to my family function. And it's not commercialized. There's not a bunch of lighting going on. There's not like this was filmed on a
And
cell
it's just
phone,
not like
you
a
know?
fake anything.
Right.
I
And it's
almost would rather know,
yeah.
what's the problem in the game? What's the flaw? What are the good points? Like, rather
Hmm.
than watching, some sort of fashioned, community, whatever. I would much rather know an authentic play like Monopoly.
Hmm.
Everybody gets bored by about hour in. I want to know who's playing the full like 17 hours of
Yeah.
Monopoly, but wouldn't that be a hilarious commercial? A hilarious, not even commercial Monopoly would be we all sit down, we start playing, we're stealing money, kids are quitting because it's too hard and you want all their money. They've gone to I might buy that Monopoly game. That's how it plays out. And then like an hour in, we're like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I could give a crap who's winning. And you just sort of
Yeah.
leave it there until the next gathering,
Yeah.
maybe put some saran wrap on top of it. Like that's funny. And I honestly believe that's why I haven't really sold any. Like people will see
Yeah.
me in products all the time. That's only because I have them. Like I'll wear my certain kind of hat. That's just because I'm moron
Yeah.
and I buy a lot of those hats. It's not, I'm not selling anything. I get all the time like those questions where, is this monetized?
Yeah.
Have you been sponsored? I'm like, I
You know,
wish,
one more thing about
but no, getting paid
the
for
whole
this,
TikTok and Instagram thing.
but
One thing I pointed out to people when TikTok was getting threatened to go away because of how unsafe it is and all this stuff. One thing I was realizing, I was like,
oh, so unsafe.
I've been on here going on 5 years now, still to this day, have never seen someone's TikTok get hacked. Never once. But I have myself and friends of mine, personal friends of mine, I've seen
Yeah,
their
that's
Facebook and
true.
Instagrams get hacked to where they can't even use it anymore. You got to get other ones. Now, TikTok will take your stuff down for
Yeah,
content violations and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I've never one time had somebody
yeah.
just post something crazy or send you crazy messages because their TikTok got hacked. Like, how is it not? Like, I just don't understand it.
That's so funny because I remember thinking in the beginning of all that, and everybody's like, it's just so much crap on TikTok. It gets like
Yeah.
anything can be posted. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I get crap taken down all the time. I I fell down the stairs one time and I thought it would be funny to
Yeah.
film me at the bottom of my stairs post fall because I hurt my elbow and I'm like,
Uh huh.
there's like food because I was carrying food. It's all over the god. And she filmed it and and then said, "What happened to you, Joe?" TikTok took it down for
Is
dangerous. I was lying on my own floor. I got taken down for dangerous acts and then they
yeah.
wouldn't restore it. Like I healed it, right? So the hilarious part is that they're much quicker to take
Yeah.
down stuff off TikTok, in
I
my
never
opinion,
do.
than I never worry about anything getting taken down on Instagram. And then that side switch, they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. They censor everything. That's because it's a
Yeah,
Chinese
I know,
company trying
right?
to censor everything. I'm sorry, pick a side of the fence, guys. Are they keeping us safe,
Yeah.
and taking down bad content like you were worried? Or are they,
Yeah,
this Chinese
it's
company that's trying to manipulate your mind? Like your
yeah.
mind is between the belly at this point. I don't think it really matters. But that's interesting too. A lot of people
Yeah.
are like, "Well, this is the problem of our youth." I'm like, "No, it's not. No, it's 100% is not."
Yeah, listen,
People are talking about COVID and
every
students and what did they
generation has
lose
a
during
problem with the
this?
previous generation, and they blame it on the whatever the new
Sure.
technology advancement is at that time. That's just 100%. That's what it is. You can go through the beginning of time, and
There we
that's what
go.
that has happened, and it's just never going to stop happening.
Yeah.
I'm a back in my day guy, anyways. I
It's
understand.
hilarious as
Yeah.
it happens. It's hilarious as it happens. People, I remember over past post COVID, people are like, well, how do you find students like coming out of
Hmm.
COVID and lockdown and up in Canada? I mean, we were shut down a lot longer than you guys were. And classrooms were online for quite a while. And my response is, you know what? They're fine. The hardest that, in my opinion, and we're not going to solve this problem because heaven forbid, but the kids that had the really hardest time during COVID, on the whole, it wasn't just about social lack of socialization. It was the fact that they were trapped in a home that may
Hmm.
not have been the healthiest or
Yeah.
safest. Now that's an interesting conversation. Now that's nobody wants to have that conversation. Nobody wants to talk about, well, what were they trapped in? You want to know what went up during COVID? They couldn't shut down liquor stores. Why?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
they through the roof. And then we said all the
Yeah.
kids have to stay home.
It
Well,
was crazy,
that's a different problem
but
about it. But on the whole, would you say, like, what would you give a rating of social media if you were to say if it brings positivity or negativity? Positivity, the most positive is 10 and the most negative is 0. What the way that you've engaged in it, been a part of it, where
I
would
mean,
it
over
rank? What would you
5 for
think?
sure. Yeah, like no,
You
no.
think, but just
I
over?
would give it
You think
a
it's just leaning positivity?
8.3. Yeah, well, in terms of positive,
I
because I
like
think
the
there's more
poetry.
positive that goes on. I think there's
Um,
just a lot of negative, loud people on there also, and that have a platform. But I think,
right.
and it just like in anything
Yeah.
in life, except for
Right.
prisons, the good outweighs the bad. Like I just think we just house a lot of bad in one place, and that's called prison. But other than that, the good, you can even go to the worst neighborhoods in America. The good
Right.
outweighs the bad that live in those neighborhoods, and it's just that's just that. I mean, that's just the truth.
Right. Right.
So, and that's it. And maybe I'm soft for thinking that
That's it.
way, and think there's the
Yeah.
you said what?
I think it's the opposite. I think it's the opposite. You said
Yeah.
people might think you're soft for thinking that way. I think it's the opposite. I think believing in the
Mm-hmm.
positive, in a positive, empathetic, heartfelt
Mm-hmm.
human nature,
Yeah.
that might be more of a risk.
Yeah.
It is. It's not the soft side. It's more of a risk because you're giving a lot of trust on the front end rather than not. Um, I think
Yeah.
assuming the worst is building a society and is building a culture of mistrust, of vengeful, sort of
Yeah.
reactionary, aggressive politicization. I'm not just
Yeah.
talking about politics.
Yeah.
I think that's the weak
Yeah.
side,
I,
to be honest. That's weak. That's saying I'm not willing to give anybody my trust. You all have to
oh
earn it.
yeah.
And as soon as you put that out into
Yeah.
the world, you're not going to get much.
I don't know. Uh,
Amazing. On any last words of wisdom? Any last? I
Well,
mean,
that just
obviously you're going to help me win the Cheer Choice Award, so
well, I
that's
can't help you.
whatever you have to
I mean
do,
the votes are
Brandon.
in. Like I don't even know. I truly
Ugh,
so I have a few friends of mine.
I know. I'm
I
just
know.
playing because
I have a few friends of mine that like say,
everybody's going
"Hey,
to
can
say
you?
that after
What, so
this
where am I?
podcast.
Where
Yeah.
am I at on it?" I'm like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like I, and I don't think I would tell them if I
Right,
knew.
right,
I would put that out there, but I don't know. I don't know.
right. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
for
we
sure.
have, kind of like a third party that kind of looks at all that and just does the final deal. And so, I mean, I looked throughout,
Oh, that's
so,
cool. Very cool. Yeah,
from
yeah,
before we got the top 10 and all that stuff, I could have told you or whatever if we were talking, but like, it's just,
yeah. Right,
and
right,
then,
right.
but I did not feel bad, I wouldn't want to do that to people. But I mean, we try to keep it, to where people can see where their rankings are before it cuts off those last, like, was it 48 hours? Yeah. Yeah.
Those last few
So,
days, those last few hours. Any last words of wisdom? Any
um,
last words of
just like the
you know?
an old store used to have on the side of their videos, "Be kind, rewind." A real block. Did y'all have Blockbuster in Canada?
For those who are
I guess
listening,
y'all did. I
that's a
guess y'all did.
VHS.
Oh yeah, it was.
Everybody's like, "What is
I didn't know
he
y'all had a
talking
block.
about?" Of course, we have
I
Blockbuster.
see. You got to understand.
Did you guys
I
have
look at
Blockbuster?
Canada as this like third world country. Okay, so yeah,
That's you Americans and your lack of international education is just. You know what I like that be kind rewind.
it
I
does.
do like it because it has some lovely application. It's basically saying if you're going to use something, put it back how you got it so the next person can
I love it.
use it in the
I love it.
same capacity.
I love it.
That's a
So that's
brilliant thing. I
yeah.
like
No,
it. I like
hey,
it.
I said
All
it a long
learned
time
from
ago, and I had this like
VHS,
big
baby.
breakdown with it, which is basically you said it.
It's a nice
This is why she's
analogy.
going to be the best writer in the book because she just said it more eloquently than it.
Oh, stop, Brandon. That's
This
nice.
is why everybody's gonna go straight to your chapter. Because you said it way more
Great.
eloquently than I did. I can't even say the word. You said it more eloquently than I did. So that's exactly what I was meaning. Like when you say,
I think it's beautiful, though. I think it is a
yeah,
great statement of fact.
and
I do. I really do. So I
what's on my
appreciate
tagline
you
on
and
my
all the
TikTok?
work you're doing.
Everyone can dance. Okay, everyone can dance, and I will in
Oh,
Vegas.
Brandon, you have
In
some.
Vegas, Joe will be dancing.
We'll see.
I
We'll see
guarantee you
in
that
this
right
room.
now.
Anna of just heard that, and now I'm
So
gonna go have to
no
deal with it.
problem.
Thank you so much, love. I will
I'll probably see it
see
in the
you
meeting
soon.
tonight.
I
So
will,
yeah,
we're gonna talk a little. We're gonna see you in the meeting tonight, and I'm gonna see all of my listeners and watchers next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat station. Dismissed.